I've already made and posted a video on my channel about some of the reasons why I fear and loathe guitar solos, specifically recording them for the song projects that I'm working on. It's a little bit embarrassing and sort of a shame because I am a guitar player, but it's one of the parts of the process that I find the most intimidating. And if you want to learn about that, you can go watch that other video. But it's that time again. I can't avoid it. And it's got me actually thinking deeply about the unusual ways that people might learn to play guitar solos as like a specific offshoot of learning to play guitar. In this video, I'm going to share with you the ways that I thought I was supposed to write and perform a guitar solo at different stages in my development as a guitar player and as a songwriter. Every player's progression is different, but hopefully some of these are common checkpoints that you and I share, because if not, this is just going to end up in the bowels of YouTube, never to be watched again. My very first guitar solos weren't so much solos as they were exercises, really extensions of the scale exercises that I was doing to try to learn how to play guitar to begin with. I remember feeling so proud that I had developed enough skill to be able to play solos like that, but it didn't take long for me to become dissatisfied with those, mostly because they lack musical character. They don't have distinct melodies, they don't have phrases, they don't have climaxes, dynamics. I couldn't learn how to do those things by practicing scales, so I tried to learn them from music that I loved. That sort of leads to the second method of building your own solo, which is to take an existing solo from an existing song that somebody else wrote and performed and apply it to a new musical context. There were moments where that sounded good, but it's entirely a testament to Hendrix and his skill as a melodist, and not a testament to me as a player or to my ideas. And eventually that begins to grate on you, and you want to move into something that actually feels original. But you still have so few ingredients to work with. So you end up just sort of combining methods 1 and 2. You've got a set of licks in your bag of tricks, and then you try to connect them somehow using some of the basic scalar stuff that you've learned. It feels like improvisation in the moment, but it's really just like complex recycling of existing ideas. I got to this level 3, when I'd been playing for about 18 months, maybe 2 years, and I remember feeling really, really good about my chops. And then I went and jammed with a good friend who was a more experienced player than me and just a better player than me, and I realized what that type of solo was missing. It's melody, it's phrasing, it's dynamics, it's all the things that were actually missing in example 1 and that you kind of got around in example 2 by like using somebody else's ideas. So you find that you're really just still in a place where you don't know how to turn this like manual dexterity into music. So what do you have to do? You have to go study some music. At this point, you might try to find some guitarists who play in a style that you're not used to, but there are so many other instruments that you might use as a basis for learning how to form a shapely and memorable melody. Guitar players for all of guitar history have looked to the human voice as a guide for what could be melodic. And there have been countless songs released that actually take that idea to an extreme, because the guitar solo in the solo section is really like a note-for-note reproduction of some section of the lead vocal of that song. For me, that was method number 4, to take lead vocal ideas either from other people's songs or from my songs and to use those almost note for note in guitar solo sections. There are many players who stop here, and I don't blame them because honestly, that sounds good. It's really serving the song, and in many cases, that's what guitar solos are supposed to do. But some solos and soloists are trying to juggle other goals, like personal, creative expression as a guitar player. And if you really want to get back into speaking in your own musical voice, you might jump quickly from this let's copy a lead vocal idea to let's copy a vocal in general. One common way of doing this is to try to rely on your vocals and your instincts about how to speak and sing, which have been developed since you were a baby, right? As a guide for making better musical decisions in a solo. You could do that by literally soloing with your voice over the solo section. You could do like a scat solo and then go back to the notes that you sang and reproduce those on guitar. Let's try that. Many experienced and skilled players recommend this if you want to continue developing your improvisation skills. And apparently, with practice, if you do it enough, you can get so good at it that there's almost no time between when you imagine a note that you would scat and when you're able to perform it on your guitar. But I never got there because in practice, it actually takes quite a bit of time to go through and like scat a vocal and then think about how it sounded and then find those sounds on your guitar and then play it with the guitar and listen to how it sounds with the guitar. And it works if you already have a developed sense of what a good melody is and how to create it off the top of your head. Otherwise, you might just end up scatting something that's like a little bit better than what comes out of your hands via muscle memory, but isn't a good sound. It's not going to create a good solo. For those reasons, I knew that this wasn't going to be the last stop on my journey as a soloist, even though it obviously trains you to write and play better music in general. But it led me to the approach that I pretty much use today. And that is to write a solo in almost exactly the same way that I would try to write a lead vocal part for a song. To an outsider, that might end up looking a lot like the scatting approach, but inside my brain, it's not really at all like the scatting approach. With the scatting approach, you just sort of like let go mostly and let ideas stream out of you. That's not the way that I write almost any music now, and it's generally not the way that I write solos. What I do now is a little bit more like scatting within constraints, and the constraints are things that I know about what I think is going to make a melody sound good, like having a distinct phrase that begins and ends, and maybe targeting or emphasizing at least like chord tones either in the underlying harmony, like the exact chord that's happening around the thing that you're singing or playing, or with sort of the key center, like the basic tonality of your entire piece. Also listening to where the other instruments are playing and where they are not playing, maybe trying to fill in those spaces or join them to create a lot of extra punch, and on and on. There are so many like little lessons that I've learned over many years of trying to write songs that I think help make melodies fit and work and sound good. I don't know what else to say about it without going into like, what is it to write music? But I hope that gives you an idea of the last stage for me, which is to write or compose the solo. And that's what I did for my current project. I sort of started with a particular sound that I liked and that I knew musically would work when the solo began, and went like one step at a time, just sort of developing the melody, trying not to clutter the other things that were happening in the arrangement, working towards something that both would sound good and also take advantage of the things that I can do on a guitar that I cannot do with my voice. It took time and some trial and error. Fuck that, man. But I ended up with something that I'm pretty happy with. I'm pretty happy with that. Could it be better? Yes, for a variety of reasons. Maybe one day my musical knowledge and chops will be sufficient to put me in the same, I don't know, not even solar system, but let's say universe as some of my favorite players. And along the way, I might even develop a new idea about how to actually build a guitar solo. But for now, this is where I am. I just sort of compose them the way I would compose a verse melody or something. And I'm generally happy with that approach and the results. So what do you think? And where are you as a soloist? Are you in one of those earlier stages that I described? Are you in the same stage as me? Or are you in some stage that I can barely even fathom, that is as of yet uncharted by me? Let me know in the comments, and if you have recommendations for folks that are less experienced than you, including me, please include those as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your time. I hope you're well. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you around.